You know it is, nigga. Smart.
Dance like a stripper. Dance like a stripper. Dance like a stripper. Dance like a stripper.
Hey, I don't need.
Hello, my naughty ones. This is the Nyce and Naughty Hour. I'm your hostess, the Naughty Scribe, and I'm joined again by my ride or die partners, Miss Dark and Lovely and the Freaky One. Today's show is going to have some serious overtones in it, and you'll understand why in a few moments. So for the moment, I'm going to kick this over to Dark and Lovely so she can make a special announcement.
Earlier this week, the lifestyle community in DC lost one of our leaders. Good word. John, and I'm drawing a blank now because Bailey, thank you. John Bailey passed away earlier this week. He and Carol were very well known by some of us old heads in the lifestyle. From back in the day, he kind of started things out, was very active. Some of you may have heard of JCB Couples. They were the ones that kind of, they spearheaded this thing along with some other notable people. So we're gonna just take about 10 seconds to have a moment of silence for John.
So are we ready to start things off?
We're ready to start things off.
Okay, Mike, can we get that intro, please, for Miss Dark and Lovely?
Dance like a stripper.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't need Visine to make this shit clear, but it's so.
Welcome back, and this is the Nyce and Naughty Hour, and we're about to kick things off with our Dark's Dilemma. So, Dark and Lovely, kick it off.
This week I decided that I wanted to do a little bit of definition and comparison. I'm going to start every week kind of trying to explain a term or something, but we do a lot of talking and we act like everyone who's listening to us knows exactly what we're talking about.
True, guilty as charged.
We've done that for two shows now, and so I'm thinking maybe we should explain some stuff to those of us, our friends who are looking in to kind of see what we do and who we are and what's going on. You know, we all have coworkers or friends who know that we are a little bit outside of the norm,
True.
but actually don't know what it's about. They only know marginal information, and it's usually misinformation. So,
Purpose of the show to educate and correct.
educate and correct. So my topic this week is going to be about swinging versus polyamory. So we're going to start with definitions first. Polyamory that's the easiest one to explain and to define because it simply means many loves.
Mm-hmm.
So polyamory basically is the act of having multiple romantic, for lack of a better word, relationships, emotionally connected, usually committed by something more than just conversation. It's usually oftentimes it tends to be men with multiple wives, as in some religious communities. But it can be a woman with many husbands or significant others. Swinging, however, is primarily sexual. Primarily. Now, Alan has gone to great lengths to describe the difference between social swinging and recreational swinging.
Right.
So, you know, that's kind of blurring the lines between the two. But generally speaking, for, you know, if you look it up in Wikipedia or anything else, swinging is often defined as having multiple sexual partners, not necessarily multiple relationship partners. Swinging also, you know, goes back as far. Wikipedia right now is saying the 60s is when it really took off, but
I think the Greeks and the Romans had a
lot more to do with that. But in its more modern form, it started as early as World War I. In some of my, or World War II. In some of my research, I found that it starts as early as, goes as far back in its common form or current form. Goes back as far as World War II, where when, especially for military men who were in the Air Force, who were going away to fight in the war and their families were left back on the base, they often asked someone that they trusted, a friend of the family, to take care of their family while they were gone. And in some of those instances, that extended to taking care of the needs of their wife.
Okay, understood.
Which is where the whole wife swapping term, which is very common in swinger lingo, for those who only have marginal information, they think of swinging as wife swapping or wife sharing. We swingers don't really like that as much because it kind of limits the whole thought of, you know, being more expansive. It kind of sounds like only couples do it.
Right.
And so when a single person wants to participate, it kind of dampens that because, you know, most people have this knowledge, this understanding or this belief that it's only about sharing your wives. And so if you don't have a wife, you can't really be called a swinger. We hear that a lot. So that's kind of some, you know, just a little bit of background. Yes.
You mind if I jump in on that real quick?
Jump in.
Okay, so the reason why some of us dislike it, and me being specific, which is why I'm bringing this up, wife swapping seems to indicate that the woman is essentially a man's property, and therefore they get to swap them pretty much like their property or something to be used as chattel. And that's my primary reason for not liking it or trying to avoid that particular terminology. It seems to reinforce the feeling by some, and primarily men, where they can kind of come and do whatever they want. And my hostess here has said on a number of occasions,
Yes.
the difference between being public and private property. This is nothing for you to come in and feel that you are owed anything, that a woman,
Absolutely.
her only use for you is to take care of your urges. You know, that's not what this is supposed to be. It's not what most of us look at it as.
So you mean the female is not there to service the male?
Well, not solely. I mean, obviously she's servicing them, but it's also because she's getting something back. This isn't, you know, I come in and, hey, you bow down to me and do what I want because I'm the male.
You sure about that?
Well, yeah.
It's not supposed to be.
Well, I'm just
It
playing
happens
devil's
some-
advocate.
it happens
because-
sometimes.
That's not the way I and most, I'm gonna say serious swingers. I was gonna say real, but let me not do that because that's a judgment. Most serious swingers look at it as. You get a lot of guys who come into this. Some still in couples, but most of them aren't. Who their mindset
Thank
isn't
you.
correct, or let me say, isn't in line with what I'm referring to.
Right.
Again, I'm trying not to make judgments because.
Well, I'll make them.
Again, I try to say that swinging is there's just no right or wrong way to swing, but there is the right or wrong way to show respect.
Right.
So, what this boils down to is making sure that one shows the proper respect both to the couple, to the female, and to yourself.
Exactly. Also, I want to reiterate what he said, that swinging should always be a mutual decision
Thank
for
you.
everyone involved.
Thank you.
So wife swapping is offensive to me because it says that I don't really have a choice
Exactly.
in it. But a lot of times it's me that says, yeah, I want to do that. So it's not just about swapping wives or even swapping partners or even sharing husbands. It's not just about that. It's about open and honest sexual experiences with other people, as opposed to polyamory, which is commitment to multiple people,
Yes.
which is a totally different subject.
But couldn't you do both?
There are those of us who kind of morph the two. We call ourselves poly swingers. My husband and I are of that breed.
That's why I thought about that.
My husband and I are swingers. We also are involved in a
you
poly
go.
relationship.
Yes.
So, there's nothing anywhere that says you can't kind of combine the two, although there are people in both sides who object to that. Just like there is in any lifestyle. There are people who, feel like
Purist.
there are people who are purists. There are people who believe that it's not called swinging unless you're in a room full of a bunch of people and you're all engaging it. So you're not swinging unless you're at a party.
Or orgy.
Or
That's
an orgy.
basically what it sounds
right.
like.
And a lot of people think that swing parties are orgies.
But they're
and
not.
Oh, they can be.
They
Yes,
can be.
they can
They can be.
But generally
that's
speaking,
not
they're
the
not.
primary, right.
Because you'll find that a lot of swingers are a little
Very
bit,
prudish.
They're a little on the prudish side. You wouldn't think so, but they really are a little bit on the prudish side. They believe that,
There's
I'm
a bunch
here.
of rules that need to be followed.
Right. There's a whole bunch of rules that we have
kissing.
to follow. There's, there's no
I
kissing.
never understood that one.
Okay.
If it works for you,
I'm
you
gonna
do
come
you.
to that in a minute. I'm gonna come back to that. I'm gonna put a pin in it.
Okay.
Real quick, if you're listening to this and want to chime in, the number's at the bottom.
Yes, please
Call.
feel free to call.
Tweet.
Something.
202-627-0428.
Right.
Yay!
Or if you know me and you're a friend on my Facebook page, you can send me a message like my friend just did to ask me what the link was. Hopefully she got it and she's watching now. So
Or just go to Nyce and Naughtie at Facebook and the link and all that info is right there.
and it's there. And yeah, there's that. But going back to the discussion, there are people who feel like they're a purist and there's only one way to do it and that's the right way. And there's that, you find that in all aspects of our lives every day. But there are other people who consider themselves a little bit more open to,
Go ahead.
a little bit more open to other interpretations of it.
And we're going to get to those other interpretations right after this small break. So see you in a few. Michael.
He's coming.
Yay.
Dance like a stripper.
Turn up.
Dance like a stripper. Dance like a stripper.
But it's so
Welcome back, my naughty ones, and this is the Nice and Naughty Hour. I am your hostess, the Naughty Scribe, and I am joined by my ride or die partners, Mr. Freaky One, because I always start with my Dark and Lovely. So, Lovely was going to clarify some things for us, so you want to jump on that for me?
Sure. We already started discussing the morph between polyamory and swinging, which is the poly swing, which my husband and I are participants in. And then you have I'm drawing a blank. Okay, the poly lifestyle, I'm going to steer off into that for a little bit. The poly lifestyle is a little bit more, poly folks don't like swingers, generally speaking. Because they believe that relationships are sacred and should be committed. And while you may have multiple relationship partners, your sex is only with those people.
And you can't have a committed relationship in a swing lifestyle?
They don't think so.
They don't think
They think
so.
it cheapens what they do.
Okay, but I just want our audience out there to be clear that is one opinion on
The purists,
Right.
when the polyamory purists feel like, no, you still have to be committed. It's just like monogamy, except there's more people.
There you go.
So you're still committed only to these people. You don't have sex outside of this family with anybody else. If you at some point become interested in someone else, everyone gets a say as to whether or not that person is, or whether you're allowed to date that person and decide, you know, as a group, if that person is going to be joined
So
to your
basically
family.
what you're describing is swinging within a limited number of people.
They're not going to look at it that way.
They're not going to look at it
But
that way because
realistically,
it
that's
doesn't.
what you're talking about.
Technically, no, it's not, because swinging is supposed to be the absence of emotion. So
I
if
disagree with that.
we're talking about two,
We disagree with that as well.
we're
We don't
talking
talk
about.
the purist.
I'm not talking about what we believe. I'm talking about the purist beliefs on both sides.
Okay.
Purists believe that in swinging there should be no emotion whatsoever. There should be no emotional connection whatsoever. We don't like that. I like to have sex with my friends.
Right, but to me, that
Occasionally-
doesn't sound like swinging. That sounds like just a fuck fest or orgy.
But that's what some folks believe it is. It's supposed to be sex with no strings. Whether or not you get together with them on multiple occasions, it's no strings. There's no commitment. There's no involvement
know your
outside.
name.
There's no involvement outside of this bed.
And that's the clarity that I wanted you to bring out, because
Right.
I don't want listeners or viewers out there to think that swinging is basically first and foremost a fuck fest, because it's not. But you do have
doesn't
groups
have to be.
You do have groups in this area that solely concentrate on the physical act of swinging, which is basically just a sanctioned orgy. And there are a few groups out there, and if that's what you want, there's nothing wrong. Again, we're not making judgments on that, but understand that that is what you're getting into. If you are getting into adding more partners in adventure, and also the potential for a relationship, is whether it's a friendship or adding someone into your marriage or your arrangement, then that is not an orgy or fuck fest. You are looking at swinging as we look at it. And I just want that clarity out there for people who are listening.
Exactly. Well, that was a good point. I kind of took it.
Oh, I'm sorry, baby.
It's all good. It's
And
okay.
we're kind of running over.
Oh, are we running over?
Freaky
It's okay.
stuff.
Okay.
Take it down.
No,
'Cause mine won't take that long. It won't take longer when y'all join in.
Oh.
but yeah.
Is that a
So
polite way of saying shut up?
we talked too much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We talk too much. It's okay. But yeah, so that's kind of the definition of the kind of different schools of thought on, you know, by those who are fundamentalists, as I would like to call them,
Yes.
in their purest sense of the word. Those are the definitions, the differences between the two. Now there will always be some variation of both of those things
Cool.
within a bleeding of the two.
Yes.
And that's okay too. There's not a wrong way to do it. There's a wrong way to do it for you. for each individual person, you kind of need to look at yourself and see what it is you want and what you're trying to achieve. And that's fine.
One size does not fit all.
No. And there's actually a lot of people, especially in the swing lifestyle, there's a lot of people who swing simply because they want to have sex, but they're not in a committed relationship right now. So they have sex, they go to parties or they do the swinging thing until they meet someone that they can be monogamous with, which is hilarious to me, but it happens. And for
That's
some
true.
people,
I've
works.
known it to happen to someone I know. So
And it works for them, and
Yes,
that's
it does.
fine. And there's nothing. I just,
or the opposite happens where you have someone who swings until they find someone who swings too, and they decide, you know what, we're good together, and they leave the lifestyle. But then they always have that little phasing out period that I think is so much fun because they're going to get all the extras they can get until then.
Right. Yeah, and I've I only know of and personally know 2 people who have left the lifestyle and stayed gone.
Right.
I don't know many who leave and don't.
I think we know the same too, but
who don't leave and come back or try to come back or try to dip their toe in the shallow end of the water at some point. There are some, and more power to everybody.
Okay.
I just need everybody to be honest.
Thank
So,
you.
to quote one of my favorite songs,
Uh-oh.
the world don't groove to the beat of just one drum.
Okay.
What might be right for you may not be right for some.
Are you
Hey.
quoting different strokes?
The strokes are different, folks.
It's time to go to.
We love you, Gary Coleman.
Just saying.
It's his turn.
It is.
It's a poet. It's a
We ran
poet.
over.
But come on, jump on in here, darling. So
All right,
we
so-
can talk a little bit about discretion before we break.
Yeah. So discretion. Let me tell you what it does not mean.
You want the mic close.
Yeah, I'm about to get up there. I just gotta. What it does not mean is I'm cheating and I don't want you to tell. That's not discretion. That's just lying.
Okay.
Discretion is about not giving out information that is no one's business.
Thank you.
That means it is not up to you to out whether or not somebody is swinging or if they're gay. Or discretion means shut your fucking mouth. It's none of your damn business to tell anybody else what this person over here is doing.
Yeah.
That's discretion. Not please don't tell my mate I'm cheating. Lying because you're cheating does not mean discretion. It just means you're a liar.
There you go. But now, let me play devil's advocate. Say you and I are married, just hypothetically. Say you and I are married, and I'm the adventurous one, and you're the more monogamous one. We had an understanding before we got married that I was tipping and having fun, and so were you, but you decided no. Now, I go out, I have fun. Hey, I'm having fun with a lady over here. Now, I'm still kicking it at home like I'm supposed to, and you don't necessarily ask me what I'm doing while I'm out. So am I not being discreet by not throwing it up in your face that I'm out having fun? I mean, you're not questioning me about it, so I'm not lying about
We
it.
run into a lot of people that kind of throw that little scenario out at us. Don't get me wrong. There are occasions where I am sure somebody has said to their mate, you go do what you want to do. I just don't want to know about it. I'm sure
Plausible
that
deniability.
It's absolutely
Plausible
happened.
deniability.
However, as a general rule, I believe you're just cheating. You have used something they said way back in the past as an excuse to do what you're doing now. Because you know good and goddamn well, if you said anything about what you were doing right now, you wake up with your head cut the fuck off. That's what I
Okay,
believe.
look, hey, just for clarification, I'm not married, okay, and these two are my partners, so no, we ain't talking about me personally. I'm just putting it out there because I do have to stir shit up.
I mean,
every now and then.
but I mean it's a valid question. It's a valid point, and it happens a lot. But the point is not. The point of discretion is, even if you know that this person who is where you are doing whatever they're doing is married and they're not telling their spouse what they're doing, it is not your place to tell that.
Why not? Because as you said, they're cheating, and shouldn't a wife or a hubby know that their spouse is
But
being
that's not
unfaithful?
your place.
That's not your responsibility or your place.
That's not your place.
It's not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely, it's not. I believe in what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Absolutely.
Okay, but
Absolutely.
Now.
we do have a lot of people who will have fun with someone and then because of their own guilt feel that in order to alleviate that guilt, they not only have to snitch on themselves, they have to snitch on whoever they were with and anybody else. So what's the number one rule at my party, your party, and any reputable event, whether it be a club event or a meet and greet or whatever?
I'm sure we mean number 2 rule.
No.
Well, number 2, right, because number 1 is no mean no.
Exactly.
But number 2 rule then is
what happens at a party
Right,
stays at a party.
thank you. You mind your business. You can have all the fun you want
And don't
with
get me
someone
wrong,
there.
that
but
almost
when you
never
walk out the
happens.
door, you know what? I can honestly say I have not had it happen, but
Oh yeah, it happens all the time. You just
I
don't
will-
hear about it.
well, what I'll put it this way: it has definitely haven't happened to me because I put my own shit out there.
Right,
So
and
I
there's
mean,
that.
hello,
But
Live stream.
live stream.
okay.
Out
So
here in
it
front of
ain't
God
like
and
somebody
everybody.
can say, "Ooh, did you know that girl is a slut?" Yeah, she's got a show and she'll teach you how to be a good one too. So
Right, but my brain is so scattered today. I'm so sorry, guys. I think it's that we're off on the off night. We're not.
I
on
know
our
this
usual
is
night.
we're on the second Saturday instead
Usually
of the
we're on the
first.
first Saturday, and so we're all
And we
know.
had a real interesting experience
right.
the
The
first
energy
show.
in
So
here
it's
is all
like,
jacked
woo!
up. But you know, lying is lying.
But isn't lying what makes cheating cheating? Because see, for me, cheating is not that you're with someone else. Clearly not. To me, cheating is when you're doing something you know is hurtful to me and you want to do it, you just don't want me to find out about it. That to me is what defines cheating. Cheating is not being with multiple partners because
I think what defines cheating depends on the person defining it. And you need to have a conversation with whoever you're with.
I agree with
and
that.
agree on a definition before you start throwing stones.
I think a universally accepted definition would be the betrayal of trust. in
Okay.
whatever
There you go.
form it takes.
There you go. There you go.
That's true.
Because there
If
are
what
some
you're doing
people
is a
out there
betrayal of the
there are
trust that
some
the
people
person's
out
put in
there
you, it's cheating.
who feel like you don't even have to have sex to actually be cheating.
Flirting with somebody for some people would be considered cheating.
And I
a
flirt with
betrayal of
everybody.
trust.
I flirt with a glass of water. So
All right. That's going to be the next quote of the day. Yeah.
but but there are people who believe that flirting is cheating and disrespecting, and I understand that, and that's within your right as long as you've had a conversation and you know what it is that you stand for. That's what's most important to me. I think in any have the conversation, but being discreet, like he says, being discreet is not the same as lying. Being discreet is not telling any other person's business.
Okay.
Yeah, so don't roll up on us saying, "Hey, I want to get involved in swinging," but we got to keep it on the down low because my wife don't know.
Yeah, we're not
No,
doing
that's not discreet. You're just fucking lying.
that. Right.
And we're going to get
And I'm not
back to
particularly
that
happy.
and a few other things right after this little tribute to my Aunt Thelma. So, Mike, can we get that? Thank you. Welcome back, my naughty ones. And yes, that was my Aunt Thelma, a very vibrant person who, as you could see by the little clip, did not let life live her. She lived her life, and she was a joy and a blessing to everybody who knew her. So rest in peace, Aunt Thelma. We'll put you to send you to glory and home this Wednesday. Love you much. Okay, now this is the naughty section. So Mike, let's do this official because we hardly ever get to do this. Can you throw up my plate for a moment?
Dance like a stripper.
Turn up. Smart. Know it is, nigga.
Dance like a stripper. 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 Dance like a
Smart.
stripper. Dance like a 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 stripper.
Hey, I don't need Visine to make this shit clear, but it's so
Hello, my naughty ones. No.
No, we went out.
Camera went off.
There we go.
Hey, we're back. You don't want to know what we're doing while it's blacked out. I'm just saying, I need to straighten my clothes. Okay. Now, this is the naughty notions, and I'm going to start off my section with issue on crushing. Crushing on a playmate, feelings versus reality. Is it ever really a good idea? Now,
All the stories I could tell.
I'm going to start this off with a conversation that I had with my partners here to give you an idea of what's going on or why I felt this topic was necessary. I've been in a lifestyle now for a little over 20 years, and I've met a lot of really cool people, male and female, and some of them I'm very, very tight with, as you can see. Some are close, almost like family. However, there are those that I have had encounters with at different parties or events. They look forward to seeing me. I look forward to seeing them. And that's as far as it goes for me. Not too long ago, a semi-regular playmate, someone that I have had quite a number of encounters with and have enjoyed every one of them, approached me on a serious side about us spending more time together outside of an event, since that's the only time he gets to see me. Could, I consider him as basically a partner, a boyfriend with a lot of benefits. The issue for me was this person, after we sat down and talked for a while, has been carrying feelings for me for a couple of years now and never had the guts or the courage to say anything to me about it. In fact, his feelings were so strong for me that he assumed that my feelings would have to be the same for him, and just maybe it was never really a good time for us to approach each other, so he finally decided to take the leap. This was based on absolute nothing. You don't know what my life is outside of an event, because that's as far as I want this issue with you to go. It's not a bad thing. It's just that for me personally, you're not the person I want to have in my life to that extent. You are a great playmate, but that's all it is for me. Now, I know that sounds kind of harsh, but that's the reality in reality versus feelings. If you have feelings for someone that you have played with, and there's nothing wrong with that, but before you decide that they would make a great partner for you, a great relationship with you, you need to know a little bit more about that person's needs, wants, desires, and basically their preferences and what their life situation is. For instance, I could have been married and you just didn't know about it. I could be on the down low, you didn't know about it, because I don't have those kind of conversations with you. And I think, because my partner, Dark and Lovely, had said something similar to this at an event that we were at, that if you don't take the time to really utilize the social part of the event, you will never get a feeling for that person. Therefore, crushing on me or anybody else in a lifestyle when you haven't taken the basic steps in getting to know a little bit more about me as a person is not realistic. It just isn't. Now, does it mean that you shouldn't crush on someone that's a playmate? And I don't necessarily mean just the lifestyle. It just happens a lot in the lifestyle, which is why I'm bringing it up. But for instance, if you have a casual lover, someone that you can kick it with and, no strings attached on your end, are you certain that that person isn't developing feelings for you? And yes, there are certain ways that people show you that they're feeling something a little stronger for you. Test the water, do a little something here, a little something there that they wouldn't ordinarily do or you weren't expecting them to do. If you're the kind of person that's like, oh, well, let me grab this, let me grab that, it all suits my needs, and then this person comes out expecting something in return as far as emotion or commitment, and now you're like, hey, wait a minute, where did this come from? Didn't you lead them on by accepting gifts, accepting money, accepting extra attention, whatever it is that they are throwing at you to see, hey, look, could this be a little bit more? And you're accepting it. If you don't step back and say, hey, look, just let me clarify. And every now and then, even if the two of you are on the same page, it's a good idea to just say, hey, boo, we're having fun, but it's not going to be any more than this, or find a nicer way to say it than I did. But at least you're being honest with that person. One of the worst things you can do is to lead someone on who is already into you, especially when you're not. One of the things that Freaky talks about all the time is be straight up with the person. Be nice about it. Be polite about it. You don't have to shoot someone down because you're not into them, but you do really need to be honest about it. So that's my little vent for the moment. I'm going to back up and let my partners jump in.
It's funny that you mentioned that because we've been throwing parties now for
15 years.
Ever.
This month.
Anniversary.
15 years this month, right? Yeah. So 15 years this month.
2 days ago.
2 days ago. Happy anniversary to us.
Yeah.
And eventually, because this type of thing happens so much in the lifestyle, we actually had to add a rule at one point somewhere early on that said, do not fall in love with someone else's mate. Don't fall in love with somebody else here, period. That's not what this platform is for. And so that used to be one of our rules, because at the beginning of
Still is.
at the beginning of every party we read through rules. Now we have so many, because so many stupid things have happened at parties that we've had to make rules for stuff you really shouldn't have to make rules for.
You would think.
But if you don't say it, somebody's gonna do it.
Absolutely.
So, we go over, we introduce everybody, we get everybody, there's a whole social thing, and then we go over rules. And one of the rules is don't fall in love with somebody here. Now, because our rules are so extensive, and because, folks who come to our parties tend to come to multiple parties, they've learned the rules by now.
Yep,
We
know 'em by
always,
heart.
we almost always get the question when we use that one, don't fall in love. When we say that out loud, don't fall in love with somebody's mate, or don't fall in love with somebody who's here. We almost always get the joke, well, what if I'm already in love with them?
Okay.
That's something you have to work out with you and your maker. I don't have anything. Just, this is not the form. So just because you got dick down real good, or you got some bomb ass pussy, that does not create a romantic relationship.
Let me be more
Lord.
definitive in what we're saying here.
Here
This is
comes
always
the bat.
fun.
What she said
Here comes the
was
bat.
he was pussy whipped. And he got all up in his feelings and thought that because of that good feeling he kept getting when he was with her, that there should be something that goes beyond that.
Right.
Oh yeah,
So
that's happened to me a couple times.
You don't say. Really.
Like
Really?
last week, but anyway.
No, stop it.
I could tell some stories, but we ain't got that kind of time, so let's not get into that. But what this comes back to is simply, look, whether it's male on female, female on male, female on female, whatever, that feeling that you got
There
that
you
you ain't
go.
never got before doesn't mean, oh my God, this is my mate for life. That just means you need to figure out a way to get it more often without sound like or being a creep. Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you. And guys are notorious for being a fucking creep. Like girls, they'll try to make it seem like, oh, daddy, I'm feeling you, and they have a much better presentation and trying to get you to do what they want.
Marketing
guys, you just come off
101.
like a
Marketing 101, right?
you just come off like a creep, like real talk. I mean, all that.
I don't know. It depends on. I mean, there are girls out there who can be a little bit creepy too.
Yes, they
are.
can.
I'm using generalities here.
Right. It's all about what you like. I mean, I say it all the time. The difference between a stalker and someone who's attentive is perception.
Okay.
If you like it, they're being attentive. If you don't, they're a stalker.
But, and I'm gonna,
Because they do the same things. They call you all the time.
Yes.
They, drive by your house to see if you home. Now, if you like them, you think that shit is cute. But if you don't like them, you're ready to call the police.
That's true. But now I will say this, because again, I'm using some things that have happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what if you are dealing with a partner who has his own partner? Maybe that person isn't in the lifestyle, but the two of you are, and the two of you kick it a lot, and you really, 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 really enjoy each other to the point where, yeah, you do tip out occasionally and have a little fun outside of a party. Now, you've done this, you've had this fun, everything is kicking, you know each other socially outside of events. Feelings can creep in. Feelings can creep in, but
anywhere.
For me, the red line is that you have a mate or a partner, someone you are committed to. And if this is something that you need to do behind their back, you're the one that's breaking your commitment to them, not me. So is it wrong for me, per se, to continue in a relationship with this person?
Okay.
If I am honoring my part of the bargain, but they're not.
I'm about to lose a whole bunch of friends.
Uh-oh, here we go. I knew I stirred some shit up.
There are a whole bunch of people who are watching me right now who are about to no longer be my friends. And that's okay, because I got way too many people on my friends list anyway. But in my honest to God opinion,
Mm-hmm.
in 90% of these cases, your relationship, not my concern.
Thank you. Thank you.
I am not the one who stood up in front of God and family
That's right.
and friends and had the preacher say words over me and vow to be faithful forever. That was not my choice.
Exactly.
Now, you want to call me a home wrecker? I'm sorry, but the home was a little bit cracked before he got here.
Okay.
Because otherwise, he wouldn't be here. That doesn't have your relationship status is none of my concern. It doesn't have anything to do with me. Now, there are some people that I will not get involved with who are in relationships or whatever, because I have struggled to become as drama-free as possible.
Right.
And being involved in that kind of relationship is asking for drama. So a lot of times I don't do it for that reason.
Right.
And for that reason alone. But that has nothing to do with me feeling like I owe her anything, that I need to be faithful to her, that I need to run away. My sphere of reference is right here and there. And
Right.
that's by law.
But and that's the reason I bring this subject up, because I have witnessed incidents where we're at a party or an event and someone approaches me and says, hey, do you have so and so's number? I really was digging her, and I'd like to see if this can go somewhere. And people want to make their connections through me because they didn't get that person's information. They figure, oh, sure, she has it. The way I get out of that is I simply say, hey, look, if that person didn't give you their information, I'm not at liberty to do that, but I will take yours and pass it on.
That's what we do,
if they
too.
choose to get back with you, that's fine. If they don't, then take it as a hint that, they weren't feeling you that way. And it never fails because, again, I'm kind of like the middle person. I get the brunt of their frustration because, well, did you give her my number? Yes. Well, she didn't call me. It's been like a month.
No response
Take
is
that.
a response.
No response is a response.
Okay, the other quote of the day. But really, it's not my duty or my responsibility to hook anybody up. when you are, and again, I'll get back to it.
I am not Chuck Woolery. I don't make love connections.
Thank you. And when you're at an event, regardless of what, even especially if it's a meet and greet, or a social hour or part of the event, because most private events always have social time for that reason, for you to sit down, to talk with each other, to talk about your shared experiences, what you're into, what you're not into, whether you're bareback or not, whatever.
Exchange
information. But it's the basic. It's just common sense, and it never ceases to amaze me that you'll have occasionally. It doesn't happen often, because I'm gonna be honest here, especially in my group, it's so commingled to a large point with their group that we know a lot of the same people. So when they walk in and I'm go, did you guys read the rules? Yeah, we know them. Okay, fine, because they know them almost better than I do. So we just don't have these situations. But occasionally, because we do get new people to come in, and that's the whole reason, one of the reasons for the show, to educate you, to be smart about it, and to be safe about it. But one of the things you have to understand is that when you are fucking, feelings can become involved. But the way you handle that is to be considerate, kind, and honest. If you would be surprised how much bullshit gets squashed if you just say, hey baby, you really knocked the cobwebs out of that booty, but I'll see you at the next party. I'm not interested in giving you my phone number. You can find a different way to say it, because I do have a tendency to be,
a little blunt.
Yeah, a little bit of a pit bull, but that's what works for me. You might be the more passive kind. Whatever works for you, but be honest, because now that I have told him, well, not him, but now that I've told my fictitious male that at a party, we can do this. Outside a party, no. If he pursues it, then he's got the problem and we need to squash it. Maybe I do need to say something to the host or hostess and let them know, hey, look, I love coming to your events, but not when this person is here. And guess what? As a host or hostess or founder, that is part of my responsibility, that if any of my guests feel uncomfortable, especially because of another guest, but that other guest is also being a good person, then what I need to do is when I send out invites and one accepts, I need to let the other one know, sorry, you can't come to this one, come to the other one. And if you both apply for the next event, then we flip it. You are the one that doesn't get to come to this one does. It's my responsibility to keep the drama down as much as I can. But when you're dealing with human beings, everybody brings a little bit of something. So just know that you're not there to meet your wife. You're not there to meet your new best friend. It can happen, but that's not the purpose.
Right.
And that will never be the purpose if you don't sit down and take the time to talk to people at the social part. Make connections at the social part. I will say that I've made great friends, true friends, in the lifestyle because we got to know each other besides what's between our legs. And if you do desire something more, and it's okay if you do, be honest about it, but don't make up a relationship with that person. Have a whole wedding, picket fence, maybe a couple of puppies in the groove, and everybody know about it but the person you're crushing on. Because when you, like Dark and Lovely said, when you finally come out to them, you have built up all these emotions and you're just knowing it's going to be reciprocated, and that person don't know what the fuck you're talking about, nor are they interested. They just want your dick or your pussy, whichever it is. So again, or both. But it's not a bad thing to crush on a playmate. It is a bad thing to linger on feelings that may not be reciprocated at all. And how are you going to find that out?
You have to talk to them.
Absolutely. You have to be upfront and talk
don't
to
make
the person
assumptions.
about it.
Don't make assumptions.
Right. Don't assume just because it's feeling good for you that it's got to be feeling good for them.
I think we had a connection back then.
Woo! Like I said, I got stories. I'm not even. We're not touching that. Like, y'all can ask her about that later.
Okay, we're going to try to get that another show.
So let me throw out something as a clarification. She talked a lot about talking during the social period. Technically, at our parties, the three of us, the whole party is a social period.
That's true.
I mean, it's not just an hour and you talk to people and then the rest of it's fucking, because ain't none of us athletes.
That's
like
true. That's true.
Not happening.
I'm a little
no,
old.
maybe her, but, my point is,
I'm gonna let that go.
you ain't got no voice. Because you can go.
Guilty as
But-
charged. I'm gonna let that go because someone just told me, well, I had to leave and say goodbye. I would have said goodbye to you, but you were still busy. I was like,
Still
oh,
busy.
still busy.
Well, I was
Okay.
gonna say, if you was waiting around to say goodbye, I need you to just poke your head in there and say, "Hey, I'm leaving."
Yeah, okay.
Come
you
up
know.
and give her a kiss while she's getting it in. As long as the dick ain't too close.
Hey.
Anyway, it can happen. Anyway, so my point is that the party is usually an area where people can sit, relax, and continue to be social while there's playing going on elsewhere. So please don't think that after that hour is up that there's nothing but fucking going on and no time to talk. That's
Right.
not it. At a party, any party that's worth its while, you can spend the whole party there and do absolutely nothing.
That's absolutely
and
true.
talk the entire time.
That happens
If-
a lot.
It does. You have
That's
some
what
people
you
who just like to watch, or some people that just not into playing that night, not feeling it that night, but they have a great time because guess what? First and foremost, it's a party. But now that segues me into my topic B, which is going to be real quick. Another incident that happened, and I really, really need, especially you guys, to understand something. Ladies, you tend to be more about doing what you're supposed to do. Guys, sometimes you're a little too shady. And if you're that shady, baby, you need to keep it moving. If you see a invite, because yes, the three of us are affiliated with a lot of different groups as well. If you see an announcement for an event one of us is holding, and it gives you my contact information and you contact me, please remember, you are a fucking stranger. I do not know you. Therefore, you must give me some information. You must tell me at least your first name. You must tell me what area you are in. It would be nice to have a contact and phone number rather than just an email. And I do mean Gmail, Yahoo, or whatever. And it's also nice for you to give me a little information on not just where you saw my invite at, but why you approached me to begin with. If I have to spend 3, 4, 5 email exchanges with you and I still don't know shit about you, but you want to come to one of my parties, guess what? The last thing you will ever do is come to one of my parties, because you have to understand something. Coming to one of my parties or anyone else's party means that you will have access to me physically. And I just don't allow myself to be in an unsafe situation like that. So if you are going to ask for an invite to an event, especially if you're a newbie, you better be prepared to give up some information. It is just that simple. You're not being discreet by being vague. You're being shady, and you're setting off alarm bells for me, which is telling me you're probably a serial killer, and I really don't need you to be coming anywhere near me or knowing how I'm rolling like that. So I'm going to wrap it up by saying, give up some information. I'm not going to spread your business out there, because the best thing about most groups is that we are discreet. But you can't be discreet jumping into an invite. It doesn't work that way. Okay?
Ditto for us.
Ditto.
So we're
it
going to
active.
wrap it, but love you and see you next Saturday, next month.
You said 3 more minutes.
I'm sorry. Thank
ahead.
you. We're going to see you on the 1st of August, our regular Saturday, first Saturday of the month, at 10 o'clock. Dark and Lovely, you got anything going on for our people to know?
We have
Party on the 25th.
party on the 25th.
You
Is
could have
the
said
glow
that
party?
more. Yeah, I think it is. You could say
Is
that
that
more
the glow party?
enthusiastically.
I was going to let her do it.
We have a party on the 25th of this month. And
glow
it's the
party.
glow party, which means we're going to have black lights and glow necklaces and
Women running
bracelets.
around in sexy stuff that glows in the dark.
Yeah.
Bullseyes.
Yeah. Stuff around your neck and
Kind of like bullseye. Can you get it in between the hole?
Hey, now if you see lights for the landing strip and you still can't make it, trust and believe, my pussy wasn't the issue.
and yeah. Now I'm kind of thinking that was the quote.
Make sure you check us on Facebook.
Check us out on
Twitter,
Facebook.
Nyce and Naughtie. .com, and you will also see links for Voluptuous Cafe.
Oh, also, people, please send us questions.
Yes.
If there's information you want, if you've seen the show, or if you're just in general curious, and you want to hear something on the show, hit us up on Twitter, Facebook,
website,
Gmail. We're there. Hit us up. You'll find
And
all our contact
all the
information.
social media. We're splattered all
Instagram.
over.
Yeah, that too.
Instagram. We're everywhere. We're everywhere you want to be.
And then some. Mike, is that a wrap? Love you. See you next month. I'm sorry.
See you
First
next
Saturday,
month.
August 1st. Yay!
Turn up.
Dance like a stripper. Dance like a stripper.
That pussy smoker.